As we embark on this journey through Psalm 23, we are invited into a space of peace, trust, and unwavering guidance. This passage, cherished for centuries, is more than just a prayer, it is a profound invitation to experience God's constant presence in our lives. The Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing. These words set the tone for a journey of reflection and comfort, where we are reminded that no matter the challenges we face, God's care is always with us. In a world that often feels overwhelming, it's easy to feel lost or uncertain. But Psalm 23 offers a reminder that we are never truly alone. Whether we wake up feeling burdened by the weight of the day, uncertain about our next steps, or seeking peace amidst life's chaos, this psalm speaks directly to our hearts. It beckons us to surrender our worries and rest in the tender care of God, knowing He will guide and protect us through all circumstances. The promise of peace, protection, and guidance is woven throughout the verses of Psalm 23. Each line paints a vivid picture of God's unfailing love, His ever-present guidance, and His constant protection. In moments of uncertainty, we are invited to rest in these truths, trusting that God's care will never falter. The psalm not only reminds us that we are not alone, but that God's provision is unceasing. Take a deep breath and let the truth of these words sink into your soul. Feel the weight of your burdens lift as you embrace the peaceful assurance of His presence. As we continue to explore the depth of Psalm 23, let us delve into the first verse, where the shepherd's loving care forms the foundation of the trust that guides our path forward. This is just the beginning of what is sure to be a profound reflection on God's ongoing role in our lives. God as the shepherd, a source of unfailing care. In the first verse of Psalm 23, we are immediately introduced to one of the most comforting and intimate depictions of God, our shepherd. The Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing. These words are not simply a metaphor, they are a declaration of God's ever-present care, providing for every need, both physical and spiritual. To be a shepherd is to be a guide, a protector, and a provider, and this imagery is deeply personal. It invites us to envision a relationship with God where He is not a distant figure, but one who is intimately involved in our lives, guiding us through every season with unwavering love and care. As the shepherd, God is not only concerned with our material well-being, but He provides spiritual and emotional nourishment as well. The phrase, I lack nothing, encompasses more than just the physical necessities. It extends to a profound sense of peace and security that only God can provide. In moments of doubt, fear, or loneliness, we are reminded that God's presence is always near, offering protection and reassurance. There is no need too small, no fear too great, for the shepherd to overlook. The assurance of His protection is not simply about the absence of danger, but the knowledge that we are fully cared for, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. When we reflect on this verse, we begin to understand that God's provision goes beyond simply fulfilling our immediate needs. He offers us peace, the kind of peace that surpasses all understanding. In a world filled with uncertainty and noise, the shepherd leads us beside still waters, offering a place of rest for our souls. Imagine, for a moment, walking in the midst of chaos only to be led to a serene, tranquil space where all anxieties dissolve. This peace is not just an external quiet, but an internal calm that provides deep emotional restoration, allowing us to face the world once again with renewed strength. His protection ensures that, even in our deepest struggles, we are never alone. Whether we are walking through calm or facing the storms of life, the shepherd's presence brings stability and assurance. We are reminded that the path may not always be smooth or easy, but we are always guided, protected, and loved. This sense of unwavering care is what allows us to let go of our fears, knowing that God's love and protection are steadfast. He does not promise the absence of hardship, but the certainty of His presence through every trial. This verse calls us to trust in God's provision, knowing that He sees our needs and will always lead us with wisdom and love. It challenges us to surrender our anxieties and embrace the peace that comes from knowing we are cared for by the Creator of the universe. His guidance, protection, and peace are not temporary but everlasting. Just as the shepherd never leaves the flock, God promises to remain by our side through every moment. As we continue to reflect on the wisdom of Psalm 23, let's consider how this divine care manifests in our daily lives, providing not only physical sustenance, but emotional and spiritual peace. The journey through Psalm 23 is a journey of trust, rest, and faith in God's unfailing love. With every step, we are reminded that we lack nothing, for the shepherd is with us, leading us gently but firmly toward the peace that only He can provide. Rest and renewal, finding peace in God's presence. In Psalm 23 verses 2-3, we encounter a picture of God's intimate and loving care as He makes us lie down in green pastures, leads us beside quiet waters, and refreshes our souls. These verses are not just poetic expressions, but profound truths about the rest and renewal that God provides. In times when we feel emotionally or spiritually weary, these words serve as a reminder that God is always present, offering us peace, renewal, and rest for our souls. The image of green pastures is a powerful one. In biblical times, green pastures were the ideal environment for sheep. They represented safety, abundance, and rest, where the sheep could graze without fear or worry. When God makes us lie down in green pastures, He is inviting us to a place of complete safety and peace. It's a place where we can let go of our anxieties and just rest in His care. This isn't just physical rest, it's emotional and spiritual rest that revitalizes every part of us. But rest doesn't always come easily. Life is filled with noise, distractions, and constant demands. How often do we feel overwhelmed, running from one task to the next, unable to find a moment to pause and catch our breath? Psalm 23 invites us to stop, breathe, and listen to the gentle call of the shepherd. He doesn't just allow us to rest. He leads us to it. He doesn't push us into it forcefully, but gently guides us to places of stillness where we can find peace. This peace is unlike any other, for it doesn't come from our circumstances, but from the presence of God. The still waters are another powerful metaphor. Water, in the Bible, is often associated with refreshment and cleansing. Just as water refreshes the body, God's presence refreshes our soul. It's easy to become spiritually dry when we are overwhelmed by life's challenges. The shepherd, however, leads us beside still waters where we can be restored. This is a call to pause and reconnect with God, to take a moment in His presence to be renewed and refreshed. When we take time to be still and focus on God, we experience His peace, which surpasses all understanding. Rest is not merely the absence of activity, but the active restoration of our souls. We might find rest in many things: vacations, hobbies, time with loved ones, but true spiritual rest comes only from God. When we pause to connect with Him, He refreshes our souls, filling us with His peace and strength. This is the kind of rest that rejuvenates us from the inside out, preparing us for the challenges ahead. When we feel spiritually drained or emotionally exhausted, the call of the shepherd is an invitation to rest. He understands our weariness, and He knows that we need time to recharge. In those moments when we feel like we're running on empty, God gently calls us to lie down in His green pastures, to drink deeply from the still waters, and to allow Him to refresh our souls. In His presence, we find the peace and renewal we need to face the world again with strength and clarity. This section of Psalm 23 reminds us that God's provision of rest is essential. It isn't a suggestion, it's a command to pause and let God's love and care envelop us. Rest and renewal are not optional for the believer, they are necessary for spiritual health. Just as the body needs sleep to function properly, the soul needs rest in God's presence to thrive. When we rest in God, we are restored and made whole, ready to face the challenges of life with renewed faith and strength. The shepherd is always there, gently guiding us to rest, so we can experience His peace and renewal. God's presence in dark valleys, walking with confidence. When we face the darkest valleys of life, the weight of fear and uncertainty can seem unbearable. Whether it's a season of loss, personal struggle, or overwhelming challenges, the shadows can make us feel alone and vulnerable. But Psalm 23 verse 4 offers a powerful promise. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. This verse speaks to the profound truth that God's presence is unwavering, even in our deepest moments of despair. In times of darkness, when the road ahead feels uncertain and the fear seems too much to bear, God's presence becomes the comfort that steadies us. The darkest valley represents those moments when we feel lost, when we are gripped by fear, or when we face trials that seem insurmountable. Yet, in the midst of it all, God promises His presence. His nearness is not just a distant hope, it is the very strength that carries us through. When we walk through these valleys, we often feel weak, but God's presence provides a strength that we cannot find elsewhere. It's the strength that allows us to press on when we feel like giving up. It's the confidence that comes from knowing that we are not alone, that God is walking right beside us. In those moments of trial, God's presence is the steadying force, the light in the darkness that gives us the courage to keep moving forward. This is not a strength that comes from our own abilities, but a strength that is drawn from the Creator Himself. In the midst of fear, God promises us comfort. This comfort isn't the absence of hardship or pain, but the assurance that God is with us, guiding us through it. The promise that you are with me is a reminder that we are never truly alone. It's easy to feel abandoned in the dark moments of life, but this verse assures us that God is there, right in the thick of it, holding our hands and leading us. His presence is a shield against the fear that threatens to overwhelm us. It is in His presence that we find the peace to face our fears with confidence. The beauty of this promise is that it isn't conditional on our circumstances. The valley may be dark, but God's light remains constant. Even in the most challenging times, we are invited to walk without fear because we know that the Creator of the universe is walking with us. His protection is sure, and His comfort is unshakable. The more we focus on His presence, the less power fear has over us. When we face difficult times, it's crucial to pause and reflect on the truth of God's presence. The more we acknowledge His constant nearness, the more confidence we gain to face whatever challenges lie ahead. God's presence transforms the darkest valleys into places where His strength and comfort shine the brightest. And in those places, we are reminded that we are not just surviving. We are being sustained by the love and power of the One who is always with us. As we reflect on this promise, we are reminded that walking with God through life's valleys doesn't mean that the struggles will disappear, but it does mean that we can face them with unwavering confidence. The Creator, who has walked through every valley before us, promises to walk beside us through ours. And with that assurance, fear no longer has a hold on us. This verse offers an invitation to trust in God's presence in every situation, to let His comfort surround us, and to walk in the confidence that He is always with us. Even when we feel we are walking alone, He is beside us, providing the comfort, strength, and courage we need to overcome. The road may be long and difficult, but we are never walking it alone. God is with us, and with His presence, we can face any fear, overcome any obstacle, and find peace in the midst of adversity. God's promise of love and protection, living with confidence. As we walk through life, we often encounter times of uncertainty, fear, and challenge. It's during these times that the reassurance of God's unwavering love and protection becomes all the more powerful. In Psalm 23 verses 5 to 6, we are reminded of the profound truth that God's goodness and love will follow us all the days of our lives. This promise is not just a fleeting reassurance, but an eternal covenant of God's presence in our lives, offering us the ultimate security, peace, and hope. Imagine for a moment a banquet table set before you, brimming with abundance. This is not just any feast, it's a banquet that represents the overflowing goodness of God. In the midst of our struggles and challenges, God prepares a table for us. He offers not only provision but peace, joy, and strength. The invitation is clear: to feast on His goodness, to partake in his love, and to be sustained by his grace. Even when life feels overwhelming, we are assured that God is always offering us the nourishment we need, both physically and spiritually. The promise that God's goodness and love will follow us is not limited to just the good times. It is an eternal truth that remains constant regardless of our circumstances. In moments of joy or trial, God's love is steadfast and unshakable. His protection surrounds us, offering us a sense of security that transcends any fear or uncertainty. This kind of love and protection gives us the confidence to live without fear, knowing that we are always under the care of the one who created us. This promise of eternal security extends to the final verse of Psalm 23, where we are reminded that we will dwell in God's house forever. This represents more than just a place of residence. It symbolizes an everlasting state of peace and spiritual security. To dwell in God's house is to be enveloped by His presence, to experience His love and care without end. It is the ultimate assurance that, no matter what trials we face on this earth, we are secure in God's eternal embrace. The idea of dwelling in God's house is a powerful reminder that we are never truly alone. Even when faced with the challenges and hardships of life, we can live confidently because we know that God's promises are unbreakable. His love and protection will never leave us, and His presence will guide us every step of the way. Living with this kind of confidence is not just about facing life's difficulties with courage, but about resting in the assurance that God's love is the foundation of our lives, today and forever. The invitation to live confidently in God's promises is one that calls us to trust fully in His eternal provision. As we move through our days, we can walk with confidence, knowing that His goodness is always following us, providing for us, and protecting us. With God as our shepherd, we lack nothing. His peace guards our hearts and minds, filling us with a sense of security that no earthly circumstance can shake. As we continue to reflect on the love and protection God offers, we can begin to live each day with the assurance that we are cared for, loved, and held in the secure hands of the Creator. There is nothing to fear when we know that God's goodness will follow us all the days of our lives, and that His presence will guide us to eternal peace. Conclusion: embracing God's care and walking in faith. As we reflect on the profound promises found in Psalm 23, we are reminded of the constant presence and protection of our shepherd. The imagery of God's care, provided in every verse of this psalm, reassures us that we are never alone. The shepherd leads us beside still waters, restores our souls, and walks with us through the darkest valleys. His goodness and love follow us every day, bringing peace to our hearts and confidence to our steps. At the heart of this psalm lies an invitation to trust in God's unfailing love and care. It challenges us to live not in fear, but in the assurance that God's protection is ever present. With Him by our side, we can face life's uncertainties with confidence, knowing that He will never leave us. This confidence doesn't come from our own strength, but from knowing that God's love is steadfast and His promises are unbreakable. As we walk in faith, we must hold on to the truth that God's protection extends beyond our immediate needs. His provision, peace, and presence are eternal gifts. They give us the strength to endure hardships, the courage to overcome fear, and the hope that we will never be abandoned. By embracing God's care, we are empowered to live boldly, trusting in His plans and walking in His peace. In the face of life's challenges, let us reflect on how God's love has guided us, provided for us, and comforted us. Today, we are invited to walk confidently in the assurance that we are not only cared for but protected, loved, and eternally secure in His presence. Let this truth shape our hearts and minds as we move forward in faith, always remembering that our shepherd's love is a constant, unwavering force in our lives.